Hello there, Sagittarius. Thank you for coming by for your monthly tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the month of December. It's actually technically going to start November the 29th and run through January 2nd. But I've got this time frame broken down into basically 5 weeks. So we're going to look at this time frame. We're going to look at December basically in 5 different time segments, so that we can kind of see how the energy is flowing through the month rather than getting a super general overarching for the month. So what do you need to know about a video when you watch on my channel? First of all, this is a Sagittarius video. That means that this video is for Sagittarius. It is about Sagittarius. If you happen to be a cross-watcher, just interested in finding out something about somebody who's important to you who happens to be a Sagittarius in your life, you are very much welcome to be here. However, this is not like other channels. The energy is not interchangeable and doesn't flip-flop back and forth here. This is about Sagittarius and for Sagittarius. Now, if you are a Sagittarius sun sign, that's great. Also, this can be valid for you if Sagittarius is your rising sign or your moon sign. That can work well for you too. A lot of times people's sun signs don't tend to resonate every once in a while, and so then you want to look at a rising sign or a moon sign to get something that resonates better for you. It just kind of depends, about what's going on in your chart during that time as far as astrologically. I know that for me, usually my love life shows up under my sun sign and my business life shows up under my rising sign. But I don't know if that would be true for everybody. I think it's good to just kind of play with it and check it out for yourself. Thank you, by the way, for being here. Thank you also for all the thumbs ups you guys are going to be putting on these videos when you see them. And thank you for sharing these videos with other people who may find them beneficial for themselves. I do have an agreement with Sacred Spirit that whatever comes up during my readings, whether it's these general readings or a private reading, is for the client's highest and best good. So even though this may not necessarily be positive, because sometimes life is not all candy and daisies, there's a reason why you're hearing this. I like to think that maybe if we see something we don't like in a reading, that we can head it off. That gives us an opportunity to use our free will to head that off and to make the energies flow in a different way because we make some different decisions. So, having said all of that, one last thing then, this is a general reading, and that means a couple of things. First of all, it's general in that I do not specifically ask about love or specifically ask about career, although I do ask about work. I just really leave this open for Spirit to show me the major energies that are flowing through so that you can get the most accurate idea of what's going on. But it's not going to be focused on just one part of your life. It's going to be focused on whatever you're paying the most attention to during this time frame. The other thing that it means when I say that I'm doing a general reading is that whatever I see here, not everything is going to apply to every single one of you. Like I said, some of you may not relate that much. You may want to check your rising sign or your moon sign. But for others of you, most of this is going to apply to most of you. All right? That's just pretty much how it works when you do a general here for a mass of people. All right, so taking a peek right now, we're starting with November 29th through December 5th, and we're looking at your environment during this time frame. It does look like there's something that has you really sad and not feeling good during this time frame as far as emotionally, and it looks like whatever this is, it's not changing. And it looks like whatever this is actually something that is from the past that is coming back around into your environment. So this could be a person from the past, and them being there could be causing you some real problems, some real sadness, and some real difficulty. Or it could be that there's some kind of problem from the past in your environment that just keeps showing up. Also, the thing to remember about environment too is that it's any place where you have energy or effort invested. Now, granted, normally people tell me that it's home, but for some people it shows up as work or it shows up as school. Any place where you have energy or effort invested. For some of you, it could be the skating rink, okay? There must be a professional skater out there for me to even say that. All right, let's look at subconscious leanings. subconscious leanings for you, Sagittarius. What do we have? We have a little trust issue showing up here, Sagittarius, for somebody who has not been honest with you. And I think that you really expected them to have higher character and integrity than that. And so when you realize that they weren't being honest with you, this was something that really changed your perspective on this person. Like, I think that this knocked them down a few pegs in your estimation of them whenever this truth came out, that they were being not truthful. Okay? And I think also that this whole situation where now you're viewing them differently because you've realized that they haven't been being straight with you has put you in a situation where now you have a decision to make about, you know, what do you want your interaction level to be with this person moving forward? Do you want to have interactions with them at all? If you do, you know, what do you want those interactions to look like or to feel like? And so your subconscious is really working on that question of, okay, well, where do we go from here? Okay. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about learning style and also communication style during this time frame. So what do we have here for learning style? I think there's something going on where you definitely have some information that you've picked up. I think you've had this information for a long time and you're feeling pretty solid in it. I think you've got somebody coming along and trying to tell you that ain't the way it is now. And I don't think you're budging. I think you're like, well, that's the way it's been for the last 35 years. So I think you should go back to school, little one. That's kind of the energy I'm picking up here from you. Okay? So learning style, really holding on to old information and not letting somebody tell you that things might be different than they are. Are they? I don't know from this card if they're right or if they're not right. I just know that you've got some ideas that you're not budging from no matter what they say. Might be a good idea to research those ideas and just make sure that they're not more accurate than they seem. I get the impression from a lot of you, though, that this person seems really immature, and it seems hard to believe that they would actually have high quality information. So I get it. Trust me, I get it. But not such a bad thing to research before we start standing on some issue, just because it's been that way for a long time. All right, next thing that we have coming up. As far as learning style, I do think you're learning how to clear your energy of the negative influences that are around you. You're learning how to maintain your own energy in spite of the fact that there are other energies around you that could potentially influence you in ways that you may or may not want to be influenced into. What else are you learning? I think you're learning about some of the responsibilities that are around and open and available to you. So for those of you who are looking for a job, this could be, you know, getting job offers or at least interviews. Otherwise, this could be realizing that, you know, there are some things that are kind of falling through the cracks at home with running the household. Maybe I could step up and do this or do that or whatever. But there's something definitely showing up as far as learning style, about learning about some of the responsibilities that are around you. Maybe you're looking at volunteer opportunities and finding out about those even. All right, let's look at your communication style now. I do get the distinct impression that there's somebody you're communicating with during this time frame that you're just kind of trying to buy some time before you give them an answer. I don't think you want to give them the answer that it seems like you sort of have to. And so I think you're definitely trying to buy some time before you actually give them this answer. You know, so there could be, you know, they ask you a question and instead of answering the question, you repeat the question back to them, and, you know, you clarity on it. There could be a lot of different hemming and hawing types of things happening here. This could be getting an email from somebody and just taking your sweet time responding back to it. I just feel like you don't think that the other person is going to like what you have to say, and so you're going to try to avoid saying it for as long as possible. All right, Sagittarius. I don't feel like you're going to lie to them. I just think you really, really, really don't want to say it off as long as you possibly can. What else do we have for communication style? There are some people in your sphere of influence that I think you're only telling them what they can already figure out or deduce on their own. You're kind of keeping things private. You're keeping a lot of things about yourself on the down low. You're not really spreading that information to everybody out there. You know, Sagittarius, you may have some type of public audience, and it may not be cool for everybody to know whether you're married or engaged, or if you have kids, or where you live, or whatever. You know, that type of thing. That's one way that could come through. Or it could be that there's somebody that you think has the potential to become stalker material, that you're just not sharing any kind of information with them other than what they would already find out in everyday life anyway. But definitely you've got somebody that you're sort of keeping at arm's length, not giving them anything extra to work with than what they can already deduce. What else do we have for communication style? I do think you're going to be talking to somebody about different options that you have moving forward, and I feel like this is somebody that you share responsibilities with. So this could be a colleague, this could be a life partner, this could be a friend if you share responsibilities about anything with a friend. But this is this communication definitely has to do with a decision that needs to be made, and it's a decision that needs to be made about responsibilities. For some of you, you may be talking with siblings about the idea of, you know, what are we going to do about mom? She obviously can't live on her own anymore. Or dad. I feel like for some of you, you are having those types of conversations and working out those types of decisions as far as responsibility. You know, is the parent going to stay with one of the siblings? Do we need to put the parent somewhere where somebody else is able to watch them better than we can? You know, those types of questions may be coming up for some of you. Not for all of you, just for some of you. But definitely what I see happening for the vast majority of you is a little bit more general than that, but definitely making some kind of decision along with somebody else that you share responsibilities with about those responsibilities. Okay? So, there's that. Let's look at work. This is work for Sagittarius during the week from November 29th to December the 5th. Wow, it just feels like you're pedaling backwards. The more you're trying to pedal uphill forwards, the more you end up pedaling backwards is what it looks like at work. So this to me looks like, you know, you have some goals that you're working on reaching, but you're just having a hard time actually getting there. Money can be an issue for some of you, but I really feel more strongly this whole idea that manpower, having the resources, having the time, or having the people to actually accomplish what needs to be accomplished is an issue. And maybe that's an issue because of money. Maybe you don't have enough money to pay the people that you actually need to do this. Or maybe it's just a standalone. Maybe you do have enough money to pay those types of workers, but they're just not there. All right? So I do feel like either finances or hours, time, people, or finances influencing hours, time, and people just isn't giving you enough. Things are falling through the cracks here whenever we've got this combination coming up. You're just not able to quite reach that goal, to quite finish this out, to quite tie up loose ends on whatever this is at work. And so instead of feeling like moving forward, it seems like if you feel like you're moving backwards. This could be something like you're submitting something to a client that, you know, you put in a bid on, and so now you're submitting to them that final product, and they're looking at it and they're saying, you know what, I know this is what we agreed on. Hopefully they're saying that much. But I think I would really like it better if we did it this other way that you told me about at the beginning that I didn't want then, but now I want. That type of thing kind of comes up here. Okay. So I'm gonna move back a little bit on the things that are falling through the cracks. I don't think they're necessarily falling through the cracks, but I do think there's a lot of frustration that's happening here. There's a lot of, there's a lot of change of plans. There are obstacles that are coming up that you weren't planning on coming up and that don't normally come up. Okay. And so, yeah, I don't think things are falling through the cracks, to be honest, actually, about this, which was what I said at first. But no, I feel like, you're pedaling forward and feel like you're moving backwards. But you are handling this. It can feel really hectic and overwhelming to you, but other people on the outside are watching what you're doing and thinking that you're actually handling it quite gracefully and wish they could handle it as well as you. So you may be feeling hectic. Other people are noticing that you're feeling hectic. As far as they're concerned, you're handling all of this with grace. Okay, so that's work. Handling all the obstacles with grace. All right, next thing that I want to look at is actually inner work. It's interesting. I really think that you've kind of put inner work or shadow work on the back shelf right now for this week. I think you've decided that you've got enough other things going on that shadow work is not necessary. Or maybe, it's necessary, but you don't have time for it. So it's definitely, I don't see any kind of inner work. And for me, inner work is whatever we do to improve ourselves to make us happier with who we are. I don't really see that happening during this time frame. I think things are pretty hectic and it would be hard to find time to actually do inner work more than anything else. Okay? So the next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about that part of our personality that's been grown or expanded during this time frame. So Sagittarius, what do we have here? I feel like you're having trouble manifesting because you have somebody in your life who's toxic. They're holding you back. They're dragging you down. So the dreams that you have that you're reaching for, this other person is sort of distracting and sort of siphoning off those resources that you were going to put towards those dreams. They're siphoning those off. And I think that part of this toxicity is this idea that I think both of you are naive. At first I was trying to figure out who is this that's showing up as being really naive here. I think both of you are being naive. I think that this person is not really looking at how much of an impact they're making on your energy and your resources. And I think that you have this naive idea that if you keep feeding energy and resources to this other person, that things will get better. So both of you are operating under this really naive mindset, which is sort of keeping you stuck in this loop. And it is a loop. It is a loop. Actually, I think I'm going to look at this a little bit more. Do I need to? Do I need to look at that? I don't think I need to. I think you guys, that's pretty understandable. La, da, 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 da. I've started doing expanded videos for each week. Most of the time they're just little short things, but they do clarify what comes up in the cards and we get a much more specific look at what's going on. I don't think that really needed so much clarification. I think you'll recognize that without that. La, da, 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 da. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about those things that you stand for. And then, you know, when I look at something that you stand for, this is something that somebody's wanted to talk to you about, maybe even confront you about. And so you've had to stand up for this or explain this to somebody. And so what we have here is that you have a set of friends, you have a support network that you feel really good about and really comfortable with. And yet you're not really reaching out to them. You're not counting on them. And I imagine you're explaining why to whoever this person is that confronts you on it. Now, how they see you after you explain this to them is they see you as somebody who is more detached than appropriate for what you're saying, how close you are to these people. They feel like, you know, they have a completely different take on what's going on. They feel like basically you've had some kind of fight with these people and that you're just not happy with them because, you know, you're not in agreement with them. They feel like that's why you're not really feeling like contacting them, even though it shows here that you consider them friends and that you really do care for them. So this person is just reading a whole bunch of stuff in between the lines. Maybe they're right, maybe they're not. That's going to vary from each case, but they feel like there was some kind of fight and you have detached from this because of that, because that fight made you unhappy. And you don't want to think about being around those people. This is really interesting. I think this may be actually what I look at. This is what I'm going to do the expanded on. I'm going to look at the expanded as to this whole situation, what you defended, but also how this other person sees you, because a lot of times these kind of go together. Remember, there's always, what, 3 sides to the story? His side, her side, the middle side, which is usually the truth. So I wanted to take a peek and see from the tarot what's really going on. What's that, you know, we've seen the his side, her side, which doesn't even have to be 2 opposite genders, but point A and point B. Let's see the middle side. What's really happening? All right, Sagittarius, next thing. That's going to be in the expanded, by the way, so the link will be down below. You can look for the expanded for this week, and that's what it'll be about. La da 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 da. Now we're looking at the flex point. This is the point where you have a lesson or experience that you go through, and then you incorporate that into your life, and then after that we look at where you are at the end of this week. So this really right now, though, is the flex point. This is where things start to change direction a little bit. So what we have coming up as your lesson or experience is that you do have a whole lot of options. There's something going on where you're not feeling like things are coming together the way they should. They're not feeling very unified, and so you're looking at other options about, you know, how can I make this happen? And it looks to me like you're finding something, you're finding some type of solution. It does cost some money, and I think you're taking some money out and spending money on whatever the solution is to make things start coming together for you. Now, what's going on at the same time may give us a little bit of a clue, hopefully, on what it is that's not coming all together as one just yet. So at the same time, we do have, there's the end of something. There's the end of something because somebody has really scattered their energy around too far, too many places, or to too many people. And I think that you're walking away from this situation because you feel like you're not getting anywhere near as much out of this situation as what you're putting into it, and it's leaving you feeling depleted. So it's almost a matter of survival to be able to walk away from this situation, at least on a mental and emotional level. Okay, what else is happening? I do think that you're taking a trip. You are actually like literally traveling during this time frame because you are feeling very confused about something here. And because you're feeling confused, I think that you're taking this trip to find some healing. You're doing some things along on this trip that you really enjoy in the hopes of finding some healing for yourself, for your heart, and being able to look at things in a more logical way and be able to figure out where you want to go from here. That was interesting. Okay, let's look next at where we see you at the end of the week. Sagittarius. I do see that you're paying someone or some company off or paying them back for something. And I think that this is definitely bringing healing to your finances. I'm liking that. I think that there is some sacrifice in this, though, where you would like to spend this money on something that's more creative and more enjoyable. I think you're making the sacrifice to get something paid off, so it's just not hanging over your head anymore. Okay, so that's where we see you at the end of this time frame. I am going to go back and take a closer look at what's going on here with what you're standing up for and how the other person is viewing you, because they're very opposed. So let's look a little bit more at that picture and see what's really going on, and that'll be in the expanded reading for this week down in the description box below. So let me wrap this up and I'll see you soon. Okay, Sagittarius, this time we are looking at December the 6th through the 12th to see what kind of energies are influencing and flowing through this time frame. Once again, I just want to remind any cross watchers, I'm happy for you to be here. As long as you're just finding out information about Sagittarius, please keep in mind that energies in this channel do not flip-flop or exchange or go vice versa. This reading is actually for Sagittarius and about Sagittarius. Sagittarians, if you find that this reading doesn't seem to resonate for you, you may want to check your rising sign or your moon sign as well. And I know a lot of people actually check all three anyway every time, just to get a more full picture of the different influences that are impacting during the time frame. Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius, your cards are down. Let's look at your home environment. Well, excuse me, your environment. Could be your home environment, but it doesn't have to be. And what do we have? You're in your home environment. It looks like there's something coming up about your home that you were not, well, I keep saying home, so I guess we're talking about home. But it does look like there's something coming up about your environment that you weren't expecting or that you didn't know about. And it also looks like whatever this is that comes up is not making you feel like this is necessarily the best environment for you, at least not until this is resolved or settled. All right. Next thing that we're looking at does talk to me about your subconscious leanings, Sagittarius. I feel like there is somebody that you have on your mind, Sagittarius, and this is somebody from the past is what I'm hearing. Somebody that you had some kind of commitment with. For a lot of you, this is going to be romantic, but it doesn't have to be. This could be, for a few of you, a business type of commitment or some other type of commitment in your personal life. And there was an ending to whatever was this commitment between you and this other person. I feel like you still have feelings for this other person in many cases, and it looks to me like you are, I don't think you've really let go of this situation. I think in your subconscious you're looking at how can I get into a new commitment or a new agreement with this person. Okay? Next, my dears, next, my dears, next. Okay, so next thing that we're looking at talks to me about learning style and also communication style. So, learning style. I think that you are learning about how to clear your energy and how to keep your energy, I don't know that I want to say clear from other people's energy. I think that you're going to be around other energies, but I think that you're keeping yours separate. So if you're feeling happy and somebody else is not feeling happy, that doesn't necessarily mean that your mood is tanking right along with theirs. You are learning how to maintain your own energy in spite of what might or might not be going on around you. Also, as far as learning, I think there's been a big fight that shows up in your sphere of influence. Probably not a physical fight, but more of a emotional, verbal type of thing. And I think that you're actually, even though you're not directly involved in this fight, you're more of a witness or a bystander, possibly a mediator. But I would be surprised if you're that much of a mediator. I think you're somebody who sort of tries to keep the energy calm, although I don't think that really stops the fight. It just helps people to be more calm. Anyway, I think that you're learning a lot from this fight, and I think that you're actually, Sagittarians, learning a lot about emotional manipulation that you didn't really know before, or you never had thought of from a particular perspective. Also, as far as communication style, there is definitely some writing coming up, and I'm hearing the handwriting. So you may be handwriting a letter, handwriting a card. Maybe you're putting a handwritten signature on multiple documents, but definitely there's some kind of communication that comes up that is written out, and I'm getting very specifically that it is written out by hand. Okay? That's not something I normally get from this card. That's an extra, more of a psychic hit on top of what the card would tell me. Communication style. There are some people in your sphere of influence, Sagittarius, who you are not going to be sharing a whole lot of information with. In fact, you're only going to be sharing the type of information that they can already pick up as a matter of public record, a matter of everyday interactions with you anyway, but you're not going to be sharing anything other than that. And that's really interesting because you just got this last week. It's kind of the same thing. So I'm not going to go into examples of how that would work because I've already done that last week. Also, as far as communication style, I think that you're being very firm in your communication during this time frame, especially with somebody in particular. And I think that you are using your big words, so to speak, with them. That comes up as being interesting to me, but I think that's good in this case. It's interesting to me because I've had many people in my life who really appreciate big words, and I have had probably a third as many people in my life who protest because I use what they call big words. So it's interesting that this would show up as part of your reading here, that I think you're using big words. I think you're impressing somebody with your level of education and communicating. I hear some of you. They don't have to know you're faking it. You don't have to tell them that. All right. Not all of you are faking it, though. Okay. La da da da. Next, what else are we looking at here? There is somebody that you're picking and choosing your words very carefully with. It almost feels like you're being interviewed or interrogated, maybe even. But somebody is asking you some questions, and you're being very careful about the wording that you use as you answer these questions. It comes across to me as answering these questions might be a little bit like walking across a minefield and just hoping that you just don't say the wrong thing and just blow everything up. So this could be something like a job interview or some type of interview for entrance into an organization that you really want to be in, something like that. It just feels like, you know, there's something in the balance depending on the words that you choose. Okay, so that's learning style and communication style for this particular time frame. Next, we're looking at work. Workity work, 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 work. Looks to me like you have plenty of work. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing, Sagittarius? Looks to me like you do have plenty of work. I'm also feeling like you may even be adding on to the workforce wherever you are because you have lots of clients, and I think the client number that you have is actually multiplying, and it might possibly be a little bit overwhelming. If not for you, then definitely work for other people that you actually work with. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Okay, next we are looking at. Next thing that we are looking at. This is that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now, Sagittarius. And what do we have showing up? Looks to me like you're feeling a little bit down or a little bit blue lately, and part of that is because you're having a hard time making decisions, especially about a particular thing. And it seems like there's somebody around you who cares about you greatly, and I kind of feel like they're hovering. They're sort of hovering. They're almost willing you to have some clarity or to make a good decision here. And it looks to me like, you know, they have good intentions, but they're not necessarily helping. Okay? I am going to tell you, when I see this type of confusion come up in a reading, Sagittarius, if you were one of my friends that I talked to over coffee or whatever, you know, if I saw this, you know, come up, or if you told me that you pulled cards on yourself and this kind of thing came up, I would tell you that this is a really good time to get a reading. When you're having confusion like this, especially when it's as part of where your personality is growing or expanding, you know, getting some clarity so you know how to move forward is really important. So to me, I think it may be that the person is actually offering to read for you. And I think you're so confused that even this idea that somebody else reads for you, I don't think you totally trust how that would turn out or what that reading would say. So when you get to that point, if you remember this reading, I would be happy to be considered as your reader to help get you some clarity on that. Yep. Okay, next we're going to look at those things that you stand for, and then how other people perceive you after you stand for them or explain them, however that may pan out in your particular life. So what do you stand for? You have gotten some distance, definitely. You've sort of detached from something. You may have like physically detached from something. You may have moved away. And this is going to be a temporary move. I don't see it as being a long-term move. You have a temporary move showing up here. And I think that as you're doing this move, you're really sharing a lot about your feelings and your hopes and your expectations here. And I think that this is actually bringing some type of healing to you by being able to do this. How the other person sees you for defending this whole situation, they see you as somebody who has two different choices, and that you could take either one of these choices. But they're seeing that, as far as they're concerned, they're not seeing where you're really manifesting anything good. And as far as they're concerned, if they had what you have on your plate, they probably wouldn't eat. They're just not feeling really two-step or jazzed about your situation here, where you're taking time away and really talking about your feelings. I think that geographically you're away from somebody, but you're really opening up to them while you're away, and that's bringing some healing to the relationship between you and this other person. Interesting. That part's always pretty interesting to me. I was just realizing, I think I say interesting at pretty much the same spots in every reading. Alright, next thing we're looking at is the flex point. This is where you have a lesson or experience. A lesson or experience. And this sort of changes the direction of which way you're going after you have this lesson or experience and you incorporate it into your life. So let's look at the lesson or experience first. It looks like there was somebody that you were planning on collaborating with in some way, and they're not able to hold up their end of the bargain. And it looks to me like this is somebody that you're actually paying to do something that is very creative. So I am not sure from these cards if this person is allowing you to get a refund or not. But I feel like for most of you, about 80% of you, yes, you're able to get a refund here. I don't feel like that makes you feel any less disappointed in the idea that this did not work out. For a lot of you, I feel like this is something that you have ordered and asked somebody to make for you, custom make. You may be ordering off of Etsy or from a friend who does some kind of really cool thing. Yeah, so I think that you're disappointed not to be able to get that, whatever that is that you ordered. Also, at the same time, I do see, talking faster thinking faster than I can talk here. I do see you spending some money out, maybe more money than what you were planning to. Definitely not money that's in the everyday budget. And it looks like you've got something that's coming up here that you're putting money out on that you're not very happy with. You're looking at this and thinking, wow, I probably paid 5 times as much as what this is worth. This is ridiculous type of thing. And I do think that whenever you go back to whoever you buy this from, I don't think there's any recompense here. I think that it's just a done deal. You've just made that purchase and now it's yours. Also, at the same time, I do see some type of foundation having to do with a relationship with somebody in your life where you are definitely bringing in some forgiveness, and I think you're allowing things to move forward because you're bringing in that forgiveness, and also because the other person seems to really have genuine feelings for you, and so you want to explore that further. Where do we see you at the end of this time frame, Sagittarius? Well, we see you, darn it, we see you starting over with somebody who is a runaround type of person. Like, they like to have lots of boyfriends or lots of girlfriends, whatever the case may be for them. And I see you coming back together with this person in hopes that things work out better. Alright? Not thrilled to see that. Not thrilled to see that. You guys don't have to do that. You don't have to make my cards come true, you know. Alright, so anyway, that was your week, Sagittarius. I don't think I really found anything that I wanted to expand on for this week, so we're going to just let that go this time. And I'm going to wrap this up, and when I come back, we'll look at the next week. See you soon. Welcome back, Sagittarius. We are looking at December the 13th through the 19th this time around. Let's see what kind of influences we have coming in this time. This is pretty much our halfway point on the reading once we get through to about the middle of this week, I guess. Little reminder, those of you who are cross-watching, you are perfectly welcome to be here. However, this reading is for Sagittarius, and it's about Sagittarius. Roles cannot be reversed. Not on my channel. We don't do those kind of sloppy readings around here. If you're not sure if you're reading for the person that you say you're reading for, or if you're reading for somebody they're interacting with, that's just scary. That's all I have to say. Anyway, cross-watchers, you're welcome to be here. Please know that this is not, however, about you. This is about your Sagittarius person that you're interested in knowing about. Period. Point blank. End of story. Sagittarians, if this reading does not resonate with you, feel free to check out your moon sign or your rising sign. Starting with your environment for the week of the 13th through the 19th, Sagittarius, there is something here that has you really, I'm just going to say really sad and upset is what I'm hearing. It looks to me like whatever this is that's going on, you are making some kind of attempt to change that and to bring that into rights, but I think whatever it is that you do, I think that it brings about some form of improvement, but I think you still end up disappointed with the end result so far. I don't feel like this is over. I feel like this is a learning experience, and this is just where this attempt has brought you, but there will be other attempts to make something right in your environment. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about subconscious leanings. We do have somebody showing up in your subconscious leanings, and it looks like, you know, you have some attraction to this person. This is somebody who's very outgoing, outspoken. They may be a big flirt. They like to be around people. They like to socialize. And they can be very energetic in their ideas. They're very good at getting people on board with them and whatever their ideas might happen to be. There's a little bit of an attraction with this person. However, you know, I'm not sure if it's that, Sagittarians, for those of you who are watching me, if it's that you know that you don't want to be married in general, or you know that you don't want to be married to this person. Or if it's not about that type of relationship, you know you don't want to be bound to this person. You don't want to be their business partner. You know, you don't want to have a contract with them. You know, you just don't want to be hooked together to this person for any purpose, really, even though you do find them attractive. It comes across to me that this is something that maybe in other circumstances could have been a temptation, but it just isn't in the circumstances that you find yourself in during this time frame. Okay, so there's subconscious leanings. Let's look at learning and communication for this time frame. Looks like you are, there's a few different ways this is being said to me. Looks like you're learning about abundance, and specifically about manifesting abundance in an energetic way with the well, I shouldn't say that, maybe with the focus on the energetic part of that. How about that? That's what it feels like to me. Okay, so that's what we have as the first thing that we see when we're looking at your learning style. What's our second thing here? Okay, this is really going to sound corny because I'm not, doing a video for kindergartners here, but I do think you're learning something through a song or through songs, through singing. Maybe some of you are learning music where you're learning to sing. But I have to say that really wasn't my first impression. My first impression was that you're learning something through singing, like we learn the alphabet through singing it when we're little. So, not exactly sure how that's going to play out for you. I would be interested in hearing your comments about that. Yeah, I would be interested in hearing your comments about how that might play out in your lives. For those of you who are not at kindergarten age level who are watching this video, which I'm assuming is all of you. That was pretty interesting. All right, what else do we have about learning style? I feel like this is also kind of odd, but I do feel like there is a place where you go to learn new information. Maybe you normally go there to read a book or to listen to an audible or whatever, and it feels to me like things are really untidy and chaotic there, and I think that's distracting you from being able to do the learning that you would normally do in that place. Now, communication style. There are some changes coming up for you, and I think that you're communicating that to some of the people in your sphere of influence. And interestingly enough, I think the method or the way in which you communicate even is going through some changes itself. So it may be that you're using different words, it may be that you're using different platforms to communicate through, but definitely there are some changes that you're communicating about that are upcoming, that you're planning, and of giving people the blueprint so they're not taken off surprise when this happens. But there's also something about the way you communicate that is going through a metamorphosis or a transformation right now as well. What else do I see here? Okay, so Sagittarius, some of you may be blowing the whistle on something. Some of you may be calling for a timeout and, foul. That's foul. And some of you may be going to the media or going to the authorities about something that is going on that isn't right, that is bigger than you. It's not something that you can change all by yourself and on your own, and so there may be something going on where you're basically being a whistleblower. Now, this doesn't have to be a huge thing where you're going to the police or, anybody in authority and government. This could even be a situation where, I don't know, say that one of your siblings did something behind your parents' back and it's impacting them and they don't understand why this is impacting them. You may tell your parents, you may end up telling your parents what happened so that they can make the appropriate adjustments that make sense now that they know what the actual situation is. You know, it could be as, doesn't have to be a big grand scale type of whistleblowing here, but I do see, you know, calling out the truth definitely for you during this time frame, that you will be calling out the truth on something. What else do we have here? Yeah, I think that you're really focusing on the positive, and you may be doing some very creative things to communicate. So you may be even working on some Christmas gifts or birthday gifts, some type of gifts that are handmade, or, you know, that you are definitely the person that is, or at least one of the people in charge of putting these together or creating them somehow. And so part of your communication style could be in some type of artwork or craft work that you're doing right now as well. All right, cool, cool. I don't know if I've seen that before. I don't remember it, seeing that message. All right, next thing we're looking at is work. Workity work, 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 work. Does look like you may be taking off of work, at least at the first part of the week, if not all the way through the week. No, I feel like you're back at work by the middle of the week to Thursday at least. And it looks to me like there's something fishy going on at work, and you're not exactly sure what it is. You can't quite put your fingers on what information it is that you don't have here. All right, and things are not going as smoothly as they could at work. There are just being things, you know, things are just happening that need to be fixed or taken care of that are kind of unexpected, things that you wouldn't really expect to have to fix or take care of normally. Now, let's look at inner work. I almost put those cards away. Inner work does have to do with spending some time in meditation and deep contemplation right now, especially about yourself. And I think you're looking at, I think you've kind of got this perspective that says things haven't been going so well for me lately. Let me understand why not, or let me look at when things were going better and understand how that was different, that type of thing. That's the inner work. Inner work for this time frame. All right, next thing that we're looking at does talk to me. Of course, it all talks to me. It does talk to me about, let's look at this, that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. I'm seeing you as being happily self-sufficient here. Going off, doing your own thing, basically. Excuse me. It's interesting because I feel like there was something that you were really hopeful about before that you thought would work out better than it did between you and somebody else. Now, this could be like a business type of partnership or collaboration, or it could be a romantic collaboration. These cards indicate to me exactly which one we're talking about here. But I think you were very hopeful about this thing in the start, and I think that once you actually got into it and you were fully committed is when you realized that it wasn't very satisfying and it didn't make you very happy. And I think it's because of that experience of not feeling satisfied and not feeling happy with something that you got into, that now you're very happy to be self-sufficient, which implies to me that you may have gotten into this situation because you didn't feel like you were self-sufficient. You felt like you had to count on things other people were doing as well to be self-sufficient, be sufficient. Okay, and now you're very confident that you've got this. So yeah, you may not feel like you need to be, excuse me, in any kind of collaboration right now. Say that you may not feel like you need to be in any kind of collaboration right now just because you're feeling very self-sufficient and happy on your own. All right, let's look at those things that you stand for, and let's look at what the other person thinks about you after you explain this or defended this situation. Oh my goodness, look at you. You have been a manifesting during this time, creating those things that you want to create, having a great balance of masculine and feminine energy going on. And it looks to me like you're starting one thing and then you're going on to something else, and starting one thing and going on to something else. The only thing that I will tell you as I'm looking at these cards is, when we're looking at cards, it's important what's there. What doesn't is also important. And what doesn't show up is a completion here. So I think you're doing projects and getting them going and being very happy with how they're going, and then you move on to the next project and you pray all your support and upliftment and encouragement from the project. And so by the time we're done with this time frame, I think you're going to have multiple projects started, if any of them at a point where you can get results from them yet. But basically, you're explaining to somebody that, you know what, my manifestation game is on fire. I'm really creating everything that I wanted right now. And so, yeah, as soon as I get it created, I'm moving on to the next thing and creating the next thing. That's what you're telling somebody here. Now, this other person sees you, they see you as not being very stable. They may be feeling like your energy is scattered just a little too far. They also feel like there's something that has gone on in your life in the past that you're accepting, and I think they feel like you doing all this, I'm going to say work, doing all of this work kind of helps you tune out whatever that was. And it looks to me like they're almost like not exactly taking you under their wing, but keeping an eye on you to make sure that you're going to be okay. I think they worry about you a little bit. And so, yeah, this isn't like all out stalking, but this is something of just, you know, hey, I thought I would call you and see how you're doing today type of messages coming here. Okay? I think we're going to look at this, what you're standing for. I want to see what you're manifesting. Let me get some ideas about what it is that you're manifesting. Why you're not finishing up your manifestations before you move on to the next one. We want to look at stuff like that. All right. Because you know why. If you get these readings ahead of time, if you see something you don't like, you can change it. Change it. All right. Lesson of this particular time frame is that you are coming out of a contract. This may be the contract that you just entered into with somebody, or no, you were subconsciously thinking about this contract, I think, last week. Now you're coming out of a contract, you're coming out of an agreement, you're coming out of a commitment. And I think that this is actually very healing for you to do this. And by coming out of this commitment, this really allows communication to start free-flowing and creativity to start free-flowing now. It feels to me like whatever commitment you were in, it you choked off. So if you had, you know, some kind of non-compete clause, some kind of clause that said, you know, you couldn't have aside or something like that, or if you were just with somebody who, you know, tripped up, you just looked the wrong way at somebody at the gas station or something, you know, that can feel pretty restrictive too. So it allows you to be out of this contract, and there's a lot of communication and a lot of creativity going on with you during this time frame. La da da da, especially once we get towards the end of it. What else is going on at the same time? Yep, there is something toxic that shows up, and you're being very responsible about how you're handling this thing. Like, you're just not... Oh no, let me read the message. I think what's going on, not so much that you're being responsible about how you handle this toxic thing. There's some toxicity going on in your life, and things are falling through the cracks because of this toxicity, whether it's an addiction or an obsession or whatever. So it's causing things to fall through the cracks, but I've got the strong impression this isn't about you letting things fall through the cracks. It's somebody else who has toxic behaviors or toxic thought patterns that's letting things fall through the cracks. You're the one coming in and picking up the mess. You're the one saying, oh, canceled that interview? Well, I was feeling kind of paranoid about, you know, what did they really want to interview me for? Be you coming in and rescheduling that interview and making sure that person gets to that interview. You know, this to me is coming across, because we're dealing with something toxic, it comes across to me as codependent energy. Like, we're not a person to be able to clean things up for themselves, and so we can't just step out of their lives. We have to clean things up. Now, what else is going on at the same time? You are trying to end something. You are trying to come to the end of a phase here. You're basically putting up boundaries. You're holding back. So, looks to me like even though you're picking up the pieces behind this person who's making a mess, you're going to get sick of it. That's just in the beginning. You know, we had you coming out of that contract. I think once you're out of that contract, you're not going to be picking up their mess. You're going to actually be holding back from them. You may not be talking to them all that much, but definitely when you do talk to them, if you start talking to them, you're not sharing everything with the person. Not by a long shot. And in fact, these conversations could be pretty stiff and could be pretty awkward just because you're not in the place that you want to share anything with them. So that doesn't leave much to talk about, does it? All right. Next thing we're looking at is where you are at the end of this particular time frame. I do have you coming up as being confused, but also being cynical about people. You may be thinking, are all the people in the world bad people? That type of thing. And it looks to me like you're sort of holding yourself in this criticism or in this. You're not allowing yourself from that and look around and see the good things that are going on as well. And that is keeping you really stuck to where it's hard for you to make money, it's hard for you to focus on everyday things, it's hard for you to take care of yourself because you're focused on all this confusion. Well, we don't want that, do we? We want you to do well. So you want to focus on something else. Okay. So let me go ahead and wrap this up. I am going to take a look at this, what you were standing for, where we've got such great manifestation energy, but this idea of cutting things off short and moving to that a little bit. If you're interested in seeing what it's all about, then you may want to, well, then you will want to click on the link in the description box below for the expanded reading. Okay. Hello there, Sagittarius. This time we are going to be looking at our time frame from December 20th to December 26th for you. And we're just going to take a peek at what kind of energies are coming in during this time. What's going to be influencing you. Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate Christmas. Well, there went your first card. It refused to be put back in the deck. I went to pick it up and it flopped right back out of my hand again. So we're putting that one down. Obviously, it's meant to be taken. All right. Feel like we're getting pretty close to done. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the thumbs ups and for the shares on this video. Those of you who are cross watchers, I'm going to go ahead and remind you once again, this video is for Sagittarius. It is about Sagittarius. Energies on my channel are not reversible. So, even if you care for a Sagittarius, this is not about you. Okay? So, you're welcome to be here. Just keep that in mind, that this is what you're watching. Something about them. La da da da. If you're a Sagittarius and this video doesn't happen to resonate with you, you may want to check your rising sign or your moon sign. A lot of people actually check their sun sign, rising sign, and moon sign just to get a more full picture of what kind of influences will be active in their lives. That's not a bad idea. Alrighty, let's start with your environment, Sagittarius. During this time frame, what do we have coming up? Looks like there's a lot of communication going on in your environment, and I feel like your intuition is really strong. I think that there's something going on that people are talking to you about that you are refusing to change. You want to keep things, you want to keep things the same way, and I think that you're making this choice based on what your intuition is coming up with. I say yes, always follow your gut. Follow that intuition. It's never going to leave you wrong. Alrighty, next thing that we're looking at is your subconscious leanings during this time frame, Sagittarius. There is a decision on your mind, and this decision is involving two different people. For most of you, they're both going to be male, but they could possibly, either one or both could possibly be a more assertive type of personality female. But what do we have? One of these people is going to be somebody who is very comfortable in life. They're very well grounded. They like the finer things in life. They like the way high quality feels, smells, tastes, looks. And so we've got somebody like this. And then your other person that shows up as a part of this decision is somebody who I think is going through a really rough time right now. They may be feeling depressed and down and blue. They may not be acting in a very social or an outgoing way, but normally they're very optimistic. Normally they're very outgoing. Normally they think outside the box, and so they're pretty good at problem solving. I think right now they're having a really hard time. They have some kind of problem they really don't know how to solve, and I think that is giving them a hard time. Now, this choice that's on your mind actually involves these people. So for some of you, it could be that you're choosing between one person or the other person in some kind of factor. You know, this could be, should I date this person or should I date that person? This could be, should I take this person's side at work or that person's side at work? Or this could be that it's about the two of these people. It could be about, you know, should I become a business partner with these two people? You know, so it doesn't have to be about each of them separately that you're deciding between one or the other, but there's a decision that has to do with these two people some way or other that is showing up in your subconscious leanings, okay? I think we're actually going to look at that. I want to find out, is this about a decision between these two people or a decision about these two people together? All right, we're going to check that out. I want to dig into that a little bit more. And that's going to be in the expanded reading. I've started this month, with doing expanded readings. And those, you're going to find the links for those listed down below in the description box. I think I've got them at an affordable price. You guys let me know what you think. Let's look next at your learning style and also your communication style during this particular time frame. I do feel like you're just picking up a whole lot of information just by being curious wherever you happen to be and just thinking about things, observing, being very observant is basically how I want to say this. You know, you're thinking about things as you're around them and you're just observing different things as you go. La da 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 da, la da 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 da. There is some information that's being given to you. So this could be like a free seminar that you go to online. Somebody's giving you a free download. This could be somebody else paying for you to have a class. But I do think there's some very juicy information coming to you, meaning there's information that you can very easily use coming to you. And I think it's coming to you from somebody else. La da da da. What else do we have as far as learning style? Ooh, that's interesting. I think you're learning something on the down low right now, Sagittarius, and it may have to do with the occult and the arcane. You may not want everybody to know that you're interested in tarot reading or that you're interested in astrology or runes or whatever it happens to be for you, the metaphysical, the law of attraction. You may not be telling anybody that you're interested in finding out more about this, but I do see you learning about it anyway. Just keeping it on the down low. Okay, communication style. What do we have? What do we have? There is a lot of communication coming up at night for you guys during this time frame. So when I say at night, I mean after dark. After dark or before daylight, there's a lot of communication going on for you. There is communication in the daytime too. It's not like the nighttime is the only time you're communicating. And I think that there's a lot of, I think you're shining the light of truth on a lot of things where there may be some misconceptions or some misunderstandings. I think that you are making sure that those don't hold, that people are understanding what it is that you're really saying or trying to imply. La da 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 da. What else do we have? I think there is somebody who is approaching you with something, some type of offer, basically. You know, maybe it's a magazine free for the first 12 months and after that blah blah, or you know, some kind of offer. For some of you, I think this is going to be a romantic offer or an offer for a roll in the hay. Whatever this is, I see that as this person is coming to you with this offer, you're just kind of like, no, 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 no. Almost like talk to the hand. I don't think so. But I feel like you're doing this in a very gracious way. You're just not interested in whatever this might happen to be. And I feel like it's not a personal thing that you're not interested in this. I just think that you're just not interested generally. And so when this person comes to you, you know, it's just the dog barking up the wrong tree. And I think that you're graciously letting them know that this is a no-go. This is not going to happen. Okay? Now, next thing that we have coming up here is work. Workity work, 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 work. I can be so cheerful about work because I love my work. I hope you guys are being cheerful about work too. I hope you love your work as well. It makes for a whole different version of life if you love your work. Let's see here. La da 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 da. What do we have? Definitely looks like your energy is really getting scattered at work. There's a lot of different projects or topics that you are having to deal with. And this is telling me that some of these projects or topics sort of pull against each other or compete with each other for your time or for your resources. And so things may be a little bit out of balance at work right now. It looks to me like during this time frame, you're going to take some time to really think about what are priorities, because I feel like you're noticing that things are really out of balance and that, you know, some things are actually getting dropped through the cracks here. And so I think that you're taking some time to stop and figure out, okay, what are priorities? What do I need to focus on? And I think that by the end of this week, you're coming back with a very clear idea of what is it that I actually want to focus on in work and what can take a back burner, at least for right now. Okay, so that's what we've got for work. What do we have for inner work? Inner work really is all about making yourself whole, finding that balance, not only that balance at work, but that balance in life. During the holiday season, it's really easy to get out of balance. We can have a lot going on financially. We can have a lot going on with our time. We can have a lot going on with our energy. People staying up late to bake cookies and pies and all kinds of stuff like that. And then being really tired and not being able to enjoy any kind of get-together. I'm not sure what kind of get-togethers we're going to have this year with Corona, but this is the time that traditionally there would be that, and there's a lot of work involved with that. So, you know, this week the inner work is really about finding that balance so that, you know, you can do the things that are important to you, but not overextend yourself and spend a lot of energy, time, or money on something that is not really as important. Okay? So, going to pick those cards up. La da 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 da. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown, expanded, highlighted during this particular time. La da 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 da. I think during this particular time, I gotta tell you, I think that during this particular time, Sagittarius, I think you are making an agreement with somebody to be the host or hostess of an event in the future. Okay? Now, you could be hosting or hostessing something right now. That's all well and good, but that's not what this is particularly talking about. Okay? This is talking about something that's upcoming, and I think that you agree to it during this time frame. So I don't know, maybe if it happens on the 20th and you agree to have everybody over at your house for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Yeah, maybe. But I'm really taking this as this is just the time when you're just making the agreement. I don't see this as a time when you're actually taking the action, but I do see you as making the agreement to be the host or the hostess in your home probably, but definitely in a home, in a place that feels comfortable. For a different event. Okay, so maybe you're agreeing to host or to to host a birthday party that's coming up. Maybe you're agreeing that, you know, Christmas has been kind of crazy and we're not really doing those types of get-togethers right now, so you're agreeing to host or hostess Easter instead, or something like that. That's how I'm taking this. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you're not having a get-together at Christmas. I mean, obviously coronavirus is going to be an influence and be an issue, so I'm not saying you are or you aren't. We'll have to see about that. And the cards aren't talking to me about that. So this is talking about something in the future that you are agreeing to play host or hostess to, probably in your home, but definitely in a home that feels very comfortable to you. Let's look next. Let's move on. I talked about that enough, didn't I? Let's move on to those things that you stand for. This is going to be something that somebody's going to have a conversation with you about. They may even confront you about this, or they may just want a simple explanation, but this is something that you have to stand for during this time frame. It looks like to me you're not taking very good care of yourself during this time frame because you're so focused on making sure that everybody in your sphere of influence knows how much you care about them and how much you love them, that you are just taking extra energy and just pouring it all over everything, and extra finances and pouring it out all over everything. We talked about that. This was your inner work, right? So this means that, you know, keeping that balance is the challenge. All right. And so this is coming up. This is something that you're having to validate, or you're having to explain to somebody else about. Now, how this person sees you after you have this conversation or this explanation with them, they see you as somebody who is really good at being a part of the team, a great team player. They also see you as somebody who, you know, things just come easy for you. That's how they feel about it, that things come easy for you. And they also see you as somebody who's full of a lot of hooey, basically. That's the best way that I can say that. They see you as blowing a lot of hot air whenever you're talking about this. So I think they do see you, like I said, they see you as a solid team player. They see you as things do come easy for you. But at the same time, they're not buying this whole idea that it's okay for you to not take care of yourself while you're pouring out energy and money on everybody else. Okay? So that's how that goes. That's how that goes down. All right. Next thing that we're looking at is going to be your flex point. This is the point where you have a lesson or experience that sort of changes things. And so we look at the lesson or experience. We look at what happens as you incorporate that lesson or experience into your life. And then after that, we'll look at where you are at the end of this week. So lesson or experience. You've been pretty naive about somebody who's in your sphere of influence right now. And I think that they are showing you their true colors during this time frame. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that for most of you, you got somebody or made somebody a nice gift. And they either got something that took very little money or effort, or they didn't get you a gift at all. And I think that you are really looking at the implications of that and taking them seriously. Okay? You feel like somebody has shown you their true colors, or how much they're really invested in you compared to how much you're invested in them. And I feel like you're not really wanting to manifest as many experiences with this person in your future as you were wanting to manifest before. So I think this is really going to change your whole perception on somebody. This is somebody that you wanted to spend time with. You may have wanted to get to know better. Might be a romantic love interest. Doesn't have to be. Could be a friend. Could be a family member that you wanted to get to know better. Maybe this was just somebody that you just thought they were kind of neato and you wanted to get to know them. But now you're seeing that, you know, their interest level, if you gauge it by gifts, is not near as much as yours. And so now you're just, can take it or leave it. Actually, I'd rather leave it. Tell you the truth, it's not even take it or leave it. You're not so interested in spending time with this person or getting to know this person anymore. That naivety about that person is pretty much gone. You're seeing their true colors, literally. All right. What else is happening at this time? Wow. I think for some of you, this isn't, not for all of you, but for some of you, this is a husband or a wife. This is a spouse. Because what we have is you're feeling not very hopeful about a situation with somebody who, you know, they're very analytic. They think things through. They always make sure everything makes sense on the bottom line. You know, they're not that great at expressing their feelings. They're good at accomplishing things. They're good at setting goals and reaching those goals, but they're not so great at expressing their feelings. And you're just feeling really defeated in this situation with this person, and you're not feeling very hopeful that things are going to get better in your interactions with them. La da da da. So what do we have here? Wow, okay. Sagittarius. You have a little ace up your sleeve, don't you? Alrighty. An ace in the hole, as they say. So the next thing that I see coming up here is I think that we have a whole other person showing up in the spread. Okay, so you're dissatisfied with this other person, feeling defeated with this other person. You've got somebody else showing up that you're actually really enjoying their company, really enjoying their presence. And you guys are, you know, making plans to do some things and maybe even doing things during this time frame together, doing certain projects or whatever at this time. And to me, this looks like somebody from the past. This could be somebody from your childhood. This could be, you know, family members that you're getting together with. It could be that, you know, you're just not paying so much attention to this person that showed you their true colors. Now you're just focusing your attention on somebody else from the past or somebody else from your childhood and just really enjoying them. This can even be, say that your spouse really disappoints you about Christmas, but this can be about paying attention to nieces and nephews or kids or grandkids, you know, just not paying so much attention to that person that let you down, but really focusing on other people in your sphere of influence right now. And this could definitely be children. If this is not somebody from your childhood or somebody from the past, this definitely could be children that you're focusing on during this time frame. That you're like, you know what, I'm really enjoying this, really enjoying these people. Okay? And then let's look at where we see you at the end of the week. All right, so it does look like you're missing somebody. Maybe those grandkids or nieces and nephews are not around anymore. But there's definitely something going on where it feels like you are missing somebody. At the same time, I feel like there is a little bit of a bit of relief, almost like a breath of fresh air coming in to sort of, it feels to me like you may be getting back to sort of normal type of circumstances. And I also feel like there's a situation here where somebody is coming clean with you about something. Somebody is telling you the truth about something. And I think that you already were pretty well aware of what the truth was, but they didn't know you were. They thought they were getting away from something, or getting away with something, I mean. And so now that they're sharing with you what they thought they were getting away with, I think that that's kind of bringing a breath of fresh air for you to realize that this person isn't going to just keep lying and keep lying and keep lying, that they are bringing the truth to you. Even if it is a little bit late, even if they thought they were getting away with something, I feel like this counts for you. This counts for something with you whenever they come to you with whatever this truth happens to be. Okay? So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to take a peek at those subconscious leanings and really expand on this decision that you have to make with these two people showing up here. And then after that, I'll come back and I'll see you next week. Thank you very much for being here. I'll see you soon. Okay, Sagittarius, this time we are looking at December the 27th through January 2nd. I just had some cards flip over as I was shuffling. Well, one card. I don't count cards that flip over. They have to actually flip out of the deck for me to take them. So we're just checking out influences here. Thank you so much for the thumbs ups on this video and for sharing this video with others who may find benefit from it. Of course, this video is for Sagittarius and it's about Sagittarius. Energies are not reversible on my videos. All right, let's put down your cards. Okay. All right, last week of the month. Let's see what we've got for environment. It looks like people may have vacated the environment. You may have been alone in your environment before, and now you're not alone in the environment. There are people around you. It looks like there's a lot of self-care and nurture and healing going on in your environment as well. And it looks like you're self-sufficient and fairly happy with the things that are happening in your environment. So we like this. This is all good stuff. We like that a lot. All right, next thing that we have coming up talks to me about your subconscious leanings. There is some type of responsibility that you've been carrying. I feel like for a lot of you, you've been carrying this for a long time, that you are thinking about putting down. The idea of putting it down really brings some heartbreak or heartache to you, but you do feel like this is something that could be very healing for you. We're going to look at this. I don't like to choose segments from this early on in the spread, but I want to look at this and feel and see, you know, why something that is making you so sad to put down as far as a responsibility is also bringing healing into your situation. That just doesn't make sense to me. But we are going to take a peek at that in the expanded, but that does talk about your subconscious leanings. So expanded reading, we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on there. And the link will be down below this video in the description box if you're interested. All right, next thing that we're looking at is communication style and learning style. We're going to start with learning style first. I do feel like there is something that you're learning right now that you're kind of learning in stepping stones fashion. So you're learning a little bit about this thing over here, and then you're learning a little bit about this thing over here, and then a little bit about this thing over here. And so eventually all this information will combine together and give you some big picture information. But for right now, it seems like there's just sort of separate little segments that you have to go through to get to that point where you've got the big picture. Now, what else do we have for learning style? It does look to me like you're learning about something in the past. For many of you, this is going to be about your genealogy or your family history, your ancestors. But I don't feel like that's necessarily true for all of you, but there is something about reaching back into the past and looking at information from the past that is showing up here. And then the last thing that we have talks to me about this. There's an idea here that you could be doing some journaling, Sagittarians. And what you're doing is you're really trying to get a window into yourself and into the way you think and what makes you tick. And so journaling may be a part of that, but you're definitely doing some self-reflection at this point as part of your learning style. Now, communication style during this time frame. I feel like your communication style could be very relaxed especially for particular people in your sphere of influence. There are some exciting things that you're talking about, but for the most part, conversation is very relaxed between you and this other person or these other people. There are some people that you're giving direction during this time frame. So you may be giving them advice, or you may be telling them things that they need to do. You know, they may be subordinates at work, or this may be children in the family, but there are definitely people that you're giving direction. And I can tell you that during this time frame, it feels to you like you're never going to be done giving these people direction. Like it can feel like they're going to always come back to you with more questions and more questions and more questions. And that part of things may be feeling a little bit overwhelming to you. I don't feel like you're thinking that this is happiness-making type of energy at the moment. All right, and then also as far as communication, we come back to this idea. I think there's somebody else that you're giving directions to too, and I think that this is somebody who is not necessarily a subordinate or a child. This is somebody who I think you're just basically helping them find their own sense of direction. You know, maybe you're talking to them or they're talking to you and they're using you as a sound to figure things out. This very much could be what's going on here, but definitely you're helping somebody find their own sense of direction as they move forward through life. Okay, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about work. Let's take a peek and see what cards came out. Definitely working together. Oh. You're definitely working together with somebody else, so you're definitely collaborating. However, I feel like this collaboration is bringing you a lot of heartache and a lot of grief right now. Okay? When I look at this card combination, it feels to me like you've got somebody who you're working with that just, they're not getting it right, to say it in a short way. Okay, and so things have to go back and they have to be redone. It makes me think of a while back ago, I was dating somebody who was a contractor. He was a landscaper, and he had people that he would hire to help him complete jobs. And so he had hired this one person that he really, you know, he kind of took this guy under his wing, and he really wanted to give him a good chance. And you know, this guy had been in a bad situation, and he was trying to come out from it. But every single day, my boyfriend at the time would say, this guy cost me another $100 today. This guy cost me $80 today. He would just do things wrong, you know. My boyfriend would give him instructions on what he needed him to do and how he needed him to do it. And then he would just do something completely opposite. Maybe he wasn't paying attention or couldn't absorb the information, or sometimes he just decided that he knew a better way, even though he had never done these tasks before in his life. And so, you know, I mean, here was my boyfriend paying this guy every single day, and every single day he was also paying for this guy's mistakes. It was hurting his wallet, and it really cost him a lot on the jobs that this guy was on with him. So this is what this reminds me of. This reminds me of whoever you're collaborating with. They're just making mistake after mistake after mistake. And it feels to me like as soon as you get the first mistake fixed, well, then they go off and they make another mistake. And I don't feel like this is insignificant mistakes. I feel like this is mistakes that other people are noticing too, not just you. Okay, and so this, I feel like this is really, I wanted to say frustrating, but I can't even say it feels frustrating. It feels overwhelming. This is the kind of thing that I feel like it might even make you wish you could cry. You know, wish you could cry in public. I do feel like by the end of this week, I think this person is going to get their final paycheck. Whether this is you giving them their final paycheck or the company that you work for giving them their final paycheck, I feel like you guys are going to be saying that is enough. We're losing enough time, we're losing enough money, we're losing enough whatever. With you being in the picture, we're much better off with Sagittarius doing this all by themselves than we are with trying to make Sagittarius collaborate with you. You gotta go. And so I think they're paying them what they owe them. I think they're paying this person what they owe this person and asking them to walk out the door and not come back. All right, so that's what we have going on as far as work. Now let's look at inner work. I do feel like there is somebody that you're grieving for during the week. Somebody or something. Actually, for a lot of you, I feel like this could be yeah, I think this is activist energy, Sagittarius. I think a lot of you could be doing some type of activist activities, okay? And I think that what's going on here is that these activist activities that you've been involved in aren't as successful as you would have liked them to be. And I think that this is, the words I'm being given are a severe disappointment to you. And so the inner work is about finding your balance after this disappointment and figuring out, okay, well, where do we go from here? You know, this is about handling that disappointment in a balanced way, not handling this disappointment because it's extreme disappointment in an extreme way. Okay? So this is talking about handling some kind of disappointment that comes your way. For a lot of you, this is going to have to do with something that you have become an activist about, that you're disappointed. And so dealing with that disappointment and finding a way to deal with it in a balanced way that's going to be productive. That's all I need to say about that. All right, next thing that we have showing up talks to me about that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded as you go through this time frame, Sagittarius. Excuse me. All right, so Sagittarius. Yeah, so you have a situation where everything has been shaken up. It didn't go the way that you thought it would go. It went a way that was completely unexpected. Completely unexpected. Yeah, this is not what you were trying to manifest. This is actually exactly opposite of what you were trying to manifest. And the way that it falls out tells me that there's been a major shift in perspective. And I think that the initial response, at least your initial response to this, is that this is not working. This is just not working. And we can see that it's not, because you're not manifesting the things that you want to manifest here. You're actually manifesting exactly the opposite of what you want to manifest. So let's look at this. Why do we get readings ahead of time? Because we have free will, and we can use our free will to change the outcomes of the readings. So when we're looking at this, and we're seeing that our manifestations are actually working in what the reverse of what we would like them to, then we know that we're doing something that's not appropriate. We're doing something that is not helpful for ourselves. So this tells me, whenever we've got this manifestation going in reverse, this tells me that what's happening here, Sagittarius, is that we're looking at things in a fearful way. We're focusing on what we're afraid of. We're focusing on what makes us angry. We're focusing on something that is negative of what we want. Okay? Because the energy flows where the focus goes. So you're getting exactly what you've been focusing on. The problem is you've been focusing on your fear, or what makes you angry. So now, what you can do when you see that this is what actually manifests, or what comes up because of your focus, now you have the opportunity, when you catch your focus going to that thing that makes you afraid, or that thing that makes you angry, you have the opportunity to shift that focus and to pivot it onto something else. Even if it's something as simple as a sugar cookie, or how comfortable your pillow is when you lay in bed and fall asleep at night. You know, it doesn't even have to be on the same topic, but shift it to something that makes you feel good, so that you don't manifest exactly what you're afraid of, or exactly what makes you angry. Okay, you want to shift that manifestation. You want to make these cards on this table wrong. That's what you want to do. I am perfectly fine with letting these cards on the table be wrong. Okay? But that takes you doing that. That takes free will. That takes conscious effort. All right? Now, what's next? Those things that you stand for. So this is something that somebody's wanted to discuss with you. Maybe they even wanted to confront you about this. You've had to give some kind of explanation or defense about whatever this situation is. Okay, so you have a situation where you're paired up with somebody, whether it's a romantic partnership, business partnership, friendship, and things just weren't, you just weren't going in the same direction as the other person, basically. And so you decided to step back, take a little break, get detached, and get some perspective on this situation. And after you did step back and get some perspective, you found yourself getting over the disappointment or the hurt from the idea that this other person just isn't going the same direction as you. Okay, so the person who wanted you to explain this to them or confronted you about this, how they see you after having this conversation, they feel like, they basically feel like you have some strong narcissistic tendencies. Okay, Sagittarius, I'm not going to mince my words. Now, I'm not saying that you have strong narcissistic tendencies. I'm saying that this is what they're feeling like. Let's not be confused, okay? And they also feel like you have a lot going on and you're balancing a lot. And nothing is falling through the cracks for you. You're managing to pull it all off. And I think they see you as somewhat of a spiritual leader as well, or a spiritual mentor, or a spiritual guide. Isn't this interesting? They see you as somebody who has strong narcissistic tendencies, but they also see you as somebody that they want to follow your example as far as spiritually. Because things aren't falling through the cracks with you. You're taking care of business, as far as they can see. That's really interesting. That makes me wonder about that other person. Anyway, we're going to pick up these cards and we're going to move on. We're going to move on. All right. Next thing we're looking at is the flex point. This is the point where things start to change direction a little bit for you. Point where you go through some type of lesson or experience which makes things change direction, and we'll look what happens as you incorporate that lesson or experience into your life. So, lesson or experience is, yeah, you have committed to let down your guard with somebody, to be a little bit more vulnerable with them, to share more of your feelings with this other person, and you're not getting a whole lot of satisfaction out of this. So this is not turning into a reciprocal thing where they're letting their guard down or where they're sharing their feelings. And so this is not a very satisfying thing as you're doing this. You're finding that you wish you would have kept your mouth shut and not told this person how you feel. At the same time that this is happening, why is there a fold on my card? That's not good. Okay, at the same time that this is happening, it looks like you are definitely facing your fear about something. And you're considering, because you've been able to face this fear, I think you're considering coming out of some kind of contract or agreement with somebody. So this person that you have committed to being more vulnerable with, I think that because you're not feeling very satisfied with the results of being more vulnerable with them, I think you're considering stepping back from being vulnerable here. You know, to me, this is after you took that break. Now you're done taking the break. You've got your ideas about what you want to say, how you really feel about things, and you're sharing that. And then you're realizing the other person isn't sharing. It's not reciprocal. So now you're stepping back. You're stepping back again. Okay? What else is going on at the same time? You're really tapping into your creativity and you're using that to your best advantage. You know, you're creating things that other people probably haven't considered or don't want to put the energy into or haven't thought about. And part of that is because you're feeling sorry for yourself. And that's adding to this sense of creativity. Maybe you draw. So if you draw right now and you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're tapping into your creativity, maybe what you're drawing is pretty dark. Could be. Could be whatever it is that you're being creative about. It could definitely have a dark energy around it because of this sense of self-pity or pity party. All right? And I don't think this is over. I think this self-pity or this pity party, the way the cards are coming up here, this looks to me like this could drag on. And I think that you may be even tapping into this energy creatively on purpose. You know, if you're a music writer, maybe you're writing some super sad songs or super angry songs, wherever this pity party is taking you. And I think you're using this energy creatively on purpose. All right? So, you could be using it to emotionally manipulate, Sag. That's something Spirit is telling me. Not all of you. Some of you. All right. Where do we see you at the end of the week? We see you feeling really confused. And part of the reason that you're feeling really confused is because your whole idea about what's secure and what's safe has been shifted upside down now. It's been turned completely over. And you're not feeling like you're objective enough to follow your own intuition. You're not feeling like you can trust yourself or your own decisions or your own intuition. So at the end of this week, we see you, and really, this is like January 1st, January 2nd, we see you being pretty confused. And actually, I know that I said we were going to look at your subconscious leanings with putting down some type of responsibility that brought you heartache but also brought you healing. But I want to clear up this confusion. I think that's more important. So I'm going to set those cards back, and we're going to look at this. We're going to look at this end of the week, why you're so confused, what has happened that has made you feel so confused, and see if we can get some good advice for you for this situation so that you're not walking around in that kind of confusion. Okay, so anyway, this is the month for you, Sagittarius. Thank you all so much for being here. Of course, thank you for thumbs ups, for likes, for being subscribed, for sharing this video. Thank you also to those of you who participate in the super chats, and thank you to those of you who buy private readings and private Reiki sessions. It is because of all of you guys' support at every single level that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So thank you very much. Everybody have a fantastic, wonderful, peaceful, thrilling month. And I will see you all back here on the next video. Peace out.